Okay. Oh, wow. Is it happening? I think it is. Do I have more light here? No, not right now. So, okay. Well, this will do. It's the Nazarite, bringing you Hebrew lore from days of yore. This one might be less Hebrew lore in the sense of I have something to say. I do have something to say. However, I didn't come with anything, let's say, prepared in the Torah sense. It's AMA. It's ask whatever you want. What I do want is to tell you this, just to share something of myself. I today on Facebook reminded me that 10 years ago I wrote and posted a poem, which I translated right now, not that well probably, but on the fly, and I will read it now. And despite I don't think there's anyone watching right now, but that's okay. We'll see what's what. And then I hope to answer a question or two that I just received because things went to the spam folder. But first, this poem. It's also in the description. If I'm not mistaken, I put it there. Morning at the pedestrian post. There is this courtesy in the world, kind, rhetorical questions that are asked each day anew. What's up? How are you? What's happening? People pass me by. A magnetometer, a handheld metal detector, floating on thin air. Hands which independently probe bags. The questions continue to accumulate. I haven't the will to answer them, and not one of them waits for an answer. So this was me at the time working security at a hospital, and I was thinking when I saw this poem, which sounds better in Hebrew, in its original language, and Facebook reminded me that I wrote this poem and posted it 10 years ago, on February 14th. I am a very different person than I was 10 years ago, and irrevocably the exact same person. And today when I reread that poem, probably I don't know if I've read it since I posted it. 10 years later, Facebook reminds me of that, and I'm so grateful. It's just filled with gratitude for things that I've been through in these past 10 years. It is wow. It was the first year or two after I took my vow, and things were beginning to to happen in my life in a real positive way. And this poem, back when I was working security, kind of meaningless or seemingly meaningless. Now, it has meaning, but it's kind of soul sucking, minimum wage job sort of thing, which I had done for a few years at that point. And I felt such vacancy, and not the good type. Something inside me, maybe greedily, but I don't think I was too greedy, wanted more out of life. And for Facebook to remind me, sure, it's just an algorithm. Sure, it's just throwing things at me to see how long I stay on the screen, or if I click like, or if I share, or if I this or that. I know it's a business, but still, Facebook just throws this little thing my way first thing in the morning when I wake up, and it's like 10 years ago, Jonathan, look where you were. Very different, irrevocably the same, but very different. I'm so very thankful because some things change, others for now don't. But the changes that I was able to witness and mm, enact in the world, in me, in my life, forget the world, in me. It's pretty cool. Now, I don't know where I will be 10 years from now, but I know that right now at this moment, and today, and this morning when I read that poem, now when I was translating it, I'm so very thankful, particularly for my day job, which is still a day job, but it's in my field. 10 years ago, I was just as much of a writer, just as much of an artist, just as much of a person wanting to have that expression. But it was difficult. And I was already in film school at the time. Things were, like I said, starting to really kick in. But I still felt Okay, I wasn't quite there yet, and I was frustrated. And things turned out really, really great in that respect, but not in the way that I thought. During that job where I wrote this, right, morning at the pedestrian post, during that, it was that last security job. I worked security in like 10 different places over the years, in my 20s, after the army. At least like 10 different places. Not 10 different companies necessarily, but 10 different places, posts. And that one where I wrote this one, morning at the pedestrian post, that was the last place that I worked at because I neglected my firearm. I neglected to keep it safe and it was stolen, which I've mentioned before. And so I was barred legally from participating, right, in a job or having a job where I carry a weapon that isn't my own personal one, but one that I think belongs to an organization, a company, something like that. I think technically this doesn't matter. I think I was still able to, maybe with some restrictions, get one for myself if it was necessary, because we don't get gun licenses easily here in Israel. The point is, I was asking for God for months, asking myself, asking God to move on, to find something, to not waste potential, to keep going, to double down on the good stuff and get out of these sort of jobs. I had been doing them for years. I said, God, just give me a company I can grow with. Give me something, even something small that I can write, in and be a part of, that I could write for. That's what I've been doing. Almost 7 years now. And the last job I had in security was there when I wrote this. I was done. I was done. And so it came about with me neglecting to keep my firearm safe, which wasn't even mine, it belonged to the company. And I was tried and sentenced to some, a small amount of community service, a first offense, and all that. But then I was barred from being a security guard. I couldn't be a security guard without carrying a weapon, basically. And so when I said to God, "Oh, God, just get me out of here," God was like, "Okay, let's make it happen so you don't have to do that ever. At least for a few years, you'll be legally barred from being a security guard and you'll be able to move on to bigger and better things, just not the way that you thought." Huh? I don't know where I'll be 10 years from now. I don't truly know where I am now in many ways. But oh my God, how thankful am I? Now, there are many, let's say, thankless jobs in this world, and each one of them, I think, has the potential for dignity. But at that point, I was done. I felt like I had to move on. Like I had to. All right, let's see. Is there anything here? Hey, Ariel Marshall. Hello, hello. Hey, dude, Mr. Poem, sadly. I have worked in security, tough gig. Not as tough as working 80 hours a week as a gardener with inflammatory spinal arthritis. When doctors say, pardon me, it is a miracle you can simply stand without even doing the work, though. No, not as tough as that. Definitely not as tough as that. Wow, I can't imagine. That must be just living in hell. A little bit of hell, anyway. Hey, little Andre, how you doing? Little Andre, I got into your not got into it. I happened across your back and forth with Spooky from 4 days ago and from up to recently, a few hours ago. It's an ongoing thread. Um, and I didn't see it, I think, or it didn't notify me that it was going on. At any rate, what does AMA stand for? Ask me anything. So shoot, ask me anything, everything you ever wanted to know but were afraid to ask. Ask now. I might even give you an answer. So until a question or two do show up, I want to respond to a comment. Where was it? First of all, I resubscribed to Aleph Alif, the New York Nazarite, and to Aliza Lipkin and Rabbi Rome, I think, as well, or I'm gonna do it soon. These people who I haven't been in touch with digitally, right, and commenting and viewing, because it just, after I lost my channel, like I said, I lost all of my subscriptions. Forget the subscribers, my subscriptions, and I had to think of it. So been doing that. So Lisa Lipkin and I had a quick back and forth. She's still doing her thing with the weekly Torah portion and the dialogues. Okay, let's see. So, little Andre, speaking of which, wait, hold on. AMA in, well, that language, and I think in Zulu, too, is like a prefix to something by the way. Okay. Let's see. So, Andre, little Andre, that is, you asked about the sun and the moon, and that's not the comment I wanted to address. I had it here. My apologies, or at least I thought I had it here. Yeah, if I won't be able to find it, I'm just gonna. Ah, there it is. Is Azrael the angel of death? Right, you're back and forth with spooky, little Andre. That's what I want to get into right now. Well, let's see. Ariel says, not quite hell the work, though very tough. Well, oh, not quite hell the work, though very tough. The reason why I was doing the work was hell in a way, though. Oh, God. That's tough, man. Wait, hang on. There we go. That's tough. It really is. I feel for you, man. Hey. Every job has its dignity, but sometimes it's difficult to find. Sometimes it's just the world like breathing down your neck or your own. We all do things, says Ariel, that some people would refer to as mistakes, by the way. Yes, that's true. We definitely do. And one man gathers what another man spills, to quote the Grateful Dead, who probably are quoting someone else. Spooky asked a few days ago, is Azrael the angel of death? To which little Andre responded, Jonathan doesn't always respond. Rolling eyes emoji. But if I may, not sure if I've heard of Azrael before, but don't you perhaps mean Azazel? So right, so there's Azazel and there's Uza and Azael, which are, let's say, known angels there, or at the very least, sons of God as they are known, Bnei Elohim in Midrash. So they got into this, Azrael and Azazel, and they mentioned the book of Enoch, Sefer Chanoch, Aleph Bet 1 and 2. And what I said is that from my knowledge of traditional, like classic Hebrew teachings, Azrael is not one of the known angels. He may appear in esoteric teachings, but then he's not the angel of death. The angel of death is known traditionally as the Samech Mem or Samael, and I don't mean to invoke him when I say his name, but that is the name. The idea of the angel of death, right, being the messenger of death, being the bringer of death, that harks back to Eden. And now in Eden, there was the serpent who was acting as a harbinger, I said, right, as a kind of, well, a kind of middleman, and an announcer of death or the potential of death. And the angel of death, the Samech Mem, was, according to some midrash, let's say, or midrashim, plural, that he was kind of riding on the snake, working through the snake, right? A spiritual force, let's say, working through a physical or metaphysical serpent. Something spiritual that makes, well, let's leave it at that. And so this punishment, this result of death coming into the world because of eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, because the serpent tempted Eve, as they say, and got inside of her. Because of that, the idea of death and the angel of death remained, the angel of death being a servant, right? The angel of death is doing what it's supposed to be doing. It has no will of its own. It's an angel, it's a messenger. It's not the message, it's the messenger. The message is by the Most High. And so Azrael, as far as I know, does exist in other faiths, and I remember the name from Dogma, but I don't know what it actually is in the Muslim or Christian traditions. But I can understand that it's probably something to do with the angel of death. So no, technically, as far as I know, it is not the angel of death. But wait, did I say anything else there? Let's see. No, just that I enjoyed their back and forth, which I did. All right, let's continue here with the chat, and if there's nothing else, I'll go. I'll go because I've figured if it might be a short one, so that's cool. Little Andre says to Ariel, I feel you. Did some really hard work with back injuries in my life once. Oh, that sucks. Lisa Freyne, hey, how you doing? It sucks. Sometimes work sucks. It's necessary, right? And there's dignity and honor in it, yeah, or the potential thereof. But oh God, sometimes, man, whether it's physical labor or mental labor, let's hope it's the kind of labor that yields something, right? That bears fruit, and not just some Sisyphic, soul-crushing, body-crushing thing. Oy. I know both. I've been with both. So I can say that in my experience, just my limited experience, there is dignity that can be found there. If the rest of your life has meaning, it imbues that as well. I think that's part of what kept me going during those times when I was writing that poem. At that time, like I said, I was already in the beginning of the ball was rolling, right? The wheels were in motion. I've been in dead-end minimum wage, thankless security jobs when I didn't even have that. So, but being able to write that poem, that was just, yeah, I was signaling to myself that I'm done. Lisa Freyne says, my question is, how can one figure out why they've been banned from synagogues if the police will not tell you why? That's very specific. And because I have never, to my knowledge, been banned from a synagogue, I don't know how I would approach it. And since I've never been in touch with the police about something like being banned from a religious institution, I couldn't tell you the first thing. And because I don't live where you live, Lisa, unfortunately, I have no frame of reference whatsoever. But since this is an AMA, I'm going to answer it. How can one figure out? Well, first of all, do you know if this was something where the higher ups and the management of the shul, right, synagogue shul, were not content with, with your conduct there? Do do you think it was the congregation that was talking amongst itself and decided to kick you out? Which place did it come from? The congregation or the management, higher ups, rabbi in charge? Second, the police, I fail to see. I don't understand how they are involved, since this is a religious matter. I don't know. Are they breaking? I'm assuming that they are breaking some sort of a law, right? And that this is a criminal thing. Otherwise, you wouldn't go to the cops. So if it is in fact a criminal sort of thing, or quasi-criminal, to ban someone from a religious institution, then there would be recourse, right? There would be due process. If the police won't tell you why, I guess the shul isn't breaking any technical laws, and so it's a personal thing. And because it's a personal thing, I'm inclined to say, how can you figure it out? Maybe you can't, so consider dropping it. Would you want to be part of a place which has banned you outright without telling you why? Or is it simply that it's like gnawing at you, right? Does it cause anxiety? Does it cause rumination? Has it happened more than once? Is there any common thread? Could you give me any details to work with? Not that I'm qualified. Back issues, says Ariel, are a common thing. Some argue that human bodies were not designed for many tasks. I mean, I wouldn't know. But anatomically, physiologically, the body responds to taking on a load. Muscles rip apart and grow thicker, stronger, more this and that and the other, right? Mass, that whole thing. By many tasks, are you referring to many physical tasks of varying intensities and degrees which utilize different muscle groups? That could really mess you up. Are you meaning long term? Or are you meaning many tasks as in multitasking, which causes one to miss the mark on one of the tasks, on the ongoing tasks? Which one is it? If that's what you were going for. Little Andre says, by the way, I'm not going to be in the chat for a while after tonight because I'm saving data again and I might be busy with some things I want to finish this week. Good. Don't waste data on me. Said it before. There are 14 more days to this Gregorian month, so it's another half. So do the right thing. It's okay if you're not in the chat, man. I appreciate your viewership, your engagement in and out of the channel, but don't waste your data on me, because you've got better things to do. Ariel said, in the words of the notorious Tenacious D, these legs don't make sense. Look at all the evidence. The Yeti is my papa, and he's got to protect me. Well, I saw the pick of destiny once. It may have been a long time ago. Not when it came out, years later, but still a long time ago. And I loved tribute, right? This is just a tribute. You gotta believe me, right? The best song, the best song in the world. The best song in the world, right? Just a tribute, whatever the name is. It's a great song. So yeah, these legs don't make sense. It's true. It's true. The Yeti is my papa. Testify. Hey, my papa is here. Hello, Abba. Just hi, he says. Shalom. It's good to have you on board, Pa, unless you did a hit and run, which it's late. It's almost 10:30 p.m. Okay, little Andre says. So wanted to say this yours already. But while I was walking in nature once and meditating on things, I thought of something. A vineyard or vineyard is not exactly natural. It has to be pruned, etc. Okay, that's still natural as nails and hair are that just grow. Oregon Freebird, hey Karen, hello, good to see you. Says Azriel is the name of Gargamel's cat in the cartoon The Smurfs. That's right. In Hebrew, it's Chatchatul. Probably some hidden meaning here. Well, there's that whole Gargamel is Jewish thing, isn't it? Isn't there a whole thing that Gargamel is Jewish and that it's all anti-Semitic? And there's some sort of thing like that. I don't know if it's based or not, but I've heard such theories before. Conspiracies against the Jews. Ariel says, lots of different varieties of wild grapevines, little Andre. Most, if not all, have edible leaves, if I remember correctly. Yes, and in vine leaves, alei gefen memulaim, right, with nuts or with almonds and stuff, all nice. That's permitted for a Nazarite, even though I don't particularly, and I mentioned this, I don't particularly enjoy rolled up leaves of vine, but people love them. Okay, you're saying it's not okay. Wait, little Andre said. Then I asked my father. So going back to it's pruned. It's not. It's pruned. It's not natural. Little Andre says, I asked my father, Andre Senior, if you will know, if if you will who know quite a bit about these things. Again, wait. Okay, Andre Senior, if you will, who knows quite a bit about these things because he worked with it and he concurred. Grapes do not grow very well in the wild. Very little, he said. The Nazarite is therefore meant, or perhaps originally meant, to take only of natural things. I don't know, man. I still consider grapes to be really natural in spite of their low yield of fruit. So, still natural, I think. Lisa says, Rabbi said, oh, so the rabbi said something. Rabbi said it was suggested they not let me in. I've never done anything to anyone there. Rabbi said I need to take it up with the chief, and the chief said he doesn't have to tell me why. Well, I know that many Orthodox, I don't know what denomination or group or sect this institution or establishment, the synagogue is, but if it's Orthodox, I can understand how they might fear the infiltration or no quotation marks, right? The infiltration of messianics, missionaries, and the like. There are some pretty wild stories, backed up as far as I can tell, but I haven't done much research, into some even Hasidic communities that had people dress up as Chassids. They had dress up with everything. They looked outwardly 100% to the T Orthodox, Hasidic Orthodox, and they were missionaries, right? They were messianics. They were things that these communities didn't want. They don't want, you know, they don't want to be swayed to being saved by Yeshua any more than I do. So I can understand why people would be cautious. As for not telling you why, that's something I don't get. You haven't had a very close connection with them. It wasn't as if you're going there for 5 or 10 years and then they kick you out. And no, you wanted to go there and it was suggested they don't let you in. How long had you been going at the time? I might be wrong. Maybe you were going for years and then this happened. But off the top of my head, before knowing anything else, I'm thinking it could be just a precaution or some sort of cautionary measure that they take. But why wouldn't they tell you, yeah, it's because we think this? I don't know. And again, would you want to be associated with such a place? I know it must be a terrible blow to you, or some sort of an disappointment, inconvenience. Not so far from being a terrible blow. If what you wanted is to join a shul, yeah, it could really be it took a hit there. If they're not going to tell you why and treat you that way, not even honor you with the truth or with some sort of explanation that would leave you sort of okay and I can move on. I don't know if you need that anyway, but it's easy for me to say, right? Chief of police, right? Okay, I thought maybe the chief rabbi, that it's a kind of like a branch from an organization. Okay, chief of police, and they wouldn't tell you why. I don't know, man, but if you're not breaking any laws or rules and you're not being not having the you're not being served with any papers, they don't have to tell you anything. It's frustrating and disappointing, but I think that they don't have to. I don't know, but I don't know. Little Andre says, I was also thinking that that's why it says Noah had to plant a vineyard, right? A vineyard. Well, interestingly, it's said that what he planted were the seeds from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And the Zohar says, as I've mentioned in the past, right? The Midrash, the Zohar says that the tree of knowledge of good and evil was grapes. Other people, right, in the Gemara, they say that it was wheat. There's another opinion that says, oh, what was it? I don't remember. Not an apple, actually. I know many people in different works of art, it's depicted as an apple. But many in the Song of Songs in Shir Shirim, it's Adonai that's the apple, right, of the eye. Ketapuach be'atzei hayar, ken dodi ben habanim. Right, the apple of my eye, like in Song of Songs. All right, let's see. Yeah, he had to plant it. Lisa says they have security set up there by the police. I see. Now my daughter and her husband got into trouble, and so the only thing I can think of is because their trial was still going, but it's been over since. Okay, so it's kind of indirectly not wanting you to be there. I see. Maybe because of well, these are a lot of maybes. I don't, but without knowing, it's something that's difficult to gauge. They won't tell you, and the police won't tell you. It might not, but it might be just something you're gonna have to somehow get over and dust yourself off and keep moving on. I don't know what to wear, so it's easy for me to say, but I don't know, man. If they don't want you like that, merely because it was something to do with your daughter, not even you, that's
Sorry. Thank you.
okay. Where were we? Okay. Maybe Adam and Chava were Nazarites in archaic sense, says little Andre, is what I'm also trying to say. No, I understood where you were going with it, right? That they only ate that I understood where you were going with it. That it probably has to do with the Nazarite thing. But well, there's no but. I don't know if they were the I'm trying to go through the yes. Archaic Nazarites, meaning you're talking about before it was a vow that pertain to the children of Israel. Yes. Sorry, it took me a while to just piece something together in my mind. Yes, yes, an archaic sense. I understand. I agree. That's definitely, as far as I'm concerned, right? They abstained from death in the sense that they were far away from it, right? It was the serpent and all that. It was external in some way. So they had that. Hair was, they were just natural human beings, as it were. Evolution and creation. So hair was flowing wild, no comb, nor brush to speak of. And the vine, and to stay away from it, that's what they were commanded to do, right? If you take that midrash as the grapevine being the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and in that sense, yeah, they were archaic Nazarites. I hear what you're saying. Lisa says June. Okay. It's been over since June. The trial was over since June, and they still haven't taken my name off the do not let in list. That sucks. Oregon Freebird. Hey, Karen. Um, damn. Since June? It's almost a year at this point, or 3/4 of a year, something like that. Where are we? February. Yeah. 8 months. Let's see. Oregon Freebird says, "Hi, I never put that together about the Smurfs being anti-Semitic. I'm going to have to watch an episode now. It's been a while." Well, you could, if you want to, go for it. I never really watched it in English. I watched it in Hebrew growing up. Ariel says, "I got rejected from joining the Jewish community police without any kind of an explanation. I don't think you should let it upset you, Lisa." Agreed. Can be so many different reasons for these decisions. Yes, it's true. Lisa says, "I want to get converted, but if I'm banned from one synagogue, wouldn't I be banned from them all?" No, not at all. Depending on your conversion and depending on who you are and where you are and what you're doing, so many variables, man. So many. How can I get converted if I cannot get into a synagogue? Okay, look. If you're looking for a proper mm, orthodox, let's say, conversion, that's years. If you are looking for a reform or reconstructionist or conservative one, that might take less. However, all of those, right, all those four, and there are others, I'm sure, other denominations, sects, groups that say they can convert you. Basically, I go back to the story of Hillel the sage and the convert, right? The one who wanted to convert. The convert came to Hillel, to Shammai, right? Shammai the sage. They were around at the time of the Second Temple. And he said, "I want you to teach me the Torah while I stand on one foot." Shammai said, "I can't do that. I can't convert you like that." He went to Hillel, the convert went to Hillel, and he said, "I want you to teach me the Torah when I stand on as I stand on one foot." Right? To just give me the short, the quick and dirty. And Hillel said, "What is hateful to you, don't do unto others." That is the entire Torah. The rest is the commentary. Go and read it. Might go and finish reading it. To convert, and some will really disagree. As far as I'm concerned, you need to make that covenant inside of you. You need to go to the mikveh, say the blessing, and that is essentially it for a conversion. Is it a halachic orthodox conversion? No. But ideally, you do it in front of three Jews, right? Three Hebrews. Again, ideally, if we're talking about halacha, three men, but other denominations, where you could have from both sexes. It's something you take on to yourself, first and foremost. Are there ways of doing it properly with a rabbi and a court and all that, and witnesses and a document and a whole big ceremony? Yeah, you can do that, sure. But converting like Hillel and the stranger, right, and the foreigner, the convert, like that, where he's like, "Do you want to be a Hebrew man or woman?" You would say yes. You want to take on the covenant of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the tribes, and you would say yes. Are you willing to devote a life to the degree that you can to Torah and commandments and good deeds? And they would say yes. And then I think the mikveh, that would pretty much be it. Circumcision if the male wasn't circumcised. It's not supposed to take 5 or 10 years. It's not supposed to cost thousands and thousands of dollars or shekels or euros or yen. I understand why it's done that way. And I understand why some Orthodox places or Reform Reconstructionist and conservative places would be wary. But I also know that conversion, first and foremost, is taking on that covenant of Torah, of commandments. That's it. That's it. That's all it is. Let's go. Glad they rejected me, though, he says to Lisa. Not at all, Lisa. Well, I don't know if you'll get converted officially or not, but you seem to be on your path. So don't let a synagogue stand in the way of you and the Most High. Don't let the mediator, don't let the middleman, right, turn you off, get you down. Abraham had no synagogue. He had his kidneys, his kishka, that taught him Torah. And that has great potential in the human being. What we need to do is fix ourselves and get ourselves together, right? And work on our different traits, positive and negative alike. And that can yield great understanding. Learning Hebrew is probably helpful too, but that's such a big thing. Little Andre says to Karen, "Oh, Reformed, you say? Well, I know nothing about Reform Judaism, so I can't help you. I can't help you. I can't understand, is what I'm saying. If I could, like, what is it? I can sympathize but not empathize, or empathize but not sympathize. That's it. So my heart goes out to you, though, that they rejected you like that without giving you an answer, just kind of slamming the door in your face, and possibly not even because of you. Eh, sucky situation. But I'm a believer of no coincidences." Karen, says little Andre, by the way, my mom is a pastor according to qualification as well, and technically still a Christian, but more of a Hebrew Christian, what some call Messianist, Hebrew roots Christian. Hebrew roots, okay. Javier says, some rabbis believe you should reject a convert 3 times before accepting their conversion. Yes, it's true. This goes back to the Rambam, if I'm not mistaken, right? Maimonides, that you turn him off, you try once, but if they're insistent and they really want to do this, you open them up, you give them, like, listen, this is going to be difficult. It's not an easy life to just transition into. So yeah, what you were told. Now, people like Rabbi Asher Mesa say that became a thing later, and we were many times people were accepting converts without these, let's say, restrictions or cautionary measures, or at least not as strict. Not a messianic, though. There's a difference between a messianic and a messianist. Well, I don't know what it is. I do tell. I was going about 2 years messianist singular and messianists plural. What is the difference between messianists and messianics, I wonder? Little Andre says, speaking of police, we have a woman who's the chief of police here, and I've never even been to the police station here since we moved here 5-6 years ago now. There's 2 female husky stray dogs here as well. So lots of girl power here. Little Andre, man, are you equating or comparing bitches to women who are in the police? I'm not exactly understanding. I'm not exactly understanding, man. You'll have to, let's see. Oh, okay, so the one husky stray dog actually walked with me from the beach today and we had lots of fun. Oh, that's nice. I'm glad you had fun with the doggo. He says, by the way, what's going on here? The one I showed you once, to which you said doggo, I just said it again, is the one who walked with me today and is actually half-breed with another fluffy dog. Oregon Freebird said to Lisa, Rabbi Asher Mesa does conversions. There you go. Have you talked to him? Lisa says, oh, I thought I would be banned from all synagogues, so that's great news. Thank you all so much. Hey, again, I don't know how the system works of the Reform synagogues, the conservative or the Orthodox synagogues in the States. I don't even know how they work here, like how they work, you know? Little Anja says, sorry, I love animals. Will somebody tell me when the show is over so I won't keep rambling for nothing, though? If you got to get it out, get it out. That's part of what the internet's for, man. Lisa says, Karen, if I could get to Florida, but I haven't been able to go there yet. I know that at least at the time, when I was following Rabbi Mesa, like a months ago, he was going to different places. So maybe he'll pass by you somehow. I just want to get into a synagogue to be around other Jews. And that's not so much to ask for. But in exile, right, in the diaspora, in foreign parts, it really is a big deal. I can't really fathom it. I didn't have to go through that. When I lived abroad in the Netherlands, I wasn't going to shul anyway. You know me, I do my own spontaneous prayer every day. And here in Israel, there's a shul every few meters, I hope you're able to get into a synagogue of your choice that will accept you and be accepted by you. I'd like that for you. Because, man, well, Bob Marley, or maybe it was someone else who wrote it. The hotter the battle, the sweeter the victory. Or the victory, according to some. The hotter things get, the more resilient you're able to get, if that's where you're headed. Now, sometimes it gets too hot and you break, and you're done. But I sense that this is not quite the end for you. Even if you never get into a synagogue ever, I believe in that power of hitbodedut, of spontaneous prayer, as a guide, of doing normal, random acts of goodness and kindness. God, that there's a revelation of God that penetrates all the different institutions and establishments and layers and sees straight, so to speak, sees straight into you. There's definitely that. No rabbi, no institution, religious or otherwise, is something that should stop you from cultivating that most unique and intimate connection with the Most High. That was around, a connection which was around before any synagogue was ever established or built, before the cornerstone of the first building. There existed that connection, manifesting primarily through speech. It's that powerful. We create and destroy worlds with our speech. All right, so let's see. Karen, most likely a hidden occult meaning there, indeed. Wait, so he was talking about... What did Karen say before? I'm forgetting. I mean, I'm trying to scroll through. Forget it, I'm just gonna keep on going. Hi from Robert and Paula. Hello, hello, hello. I'm gonna go soon, I'm feeling tired. Paula and or Robert is in the house, and in their house, and in his house, his house. It says, who is and who is not a Jew is a much debated subject, Lisa. Jews that are heavily Torah inspired can be difficult to associate with, usually as they tend to be highly busy people that are often shy. Paula says, to spooky. Revelation 21 verse 10 to the end of the chapter, and Revelations 22 King James Version, very vivid picture of heaven, spooky. Well, I don't know if Spooky is here. Maybe he'll see it. Hopefully. Probably all of them suffer from PTSD. Well, I've spoken of the modern day state of Israel and PTSD, because I'm not a clinician of any kind, but as I perceive the people of Israel, the state of Israel being with PTSD. So I don't know how you mean it, but yeah, I can see why highly busy people that are often shy, and all of them probably suffer from PTSD. I'm wondering if there's a connection in the way that I'm connecting it. I don't think that every Orthodox person suffers from PTSD, but the shyness is another issue. Well, all these traits and personality characteristics They can be worked on. So I'm thinking, I'm not sure if you're saying it in a positive sort of way where this is how they are and you need to work with them, or if you mean that it's a kind of negative thing and that they need to, I don't know what. I'll just keep going. I'm sorry. See how my mind is going? I'm trying to read a comment and I get stuck on this thing with PTSD and my mind kind of races, back and forth a bit between, speaking about it when I'm like, no, I can feel the brain waves go. Boo. Okay, so I think I'm gonna say goodbye. Wow. Oh, yes, definitely gonna say goodbye. 45 minutes now I've been talking. Some of it I think was all right. Some of it was probably very rambly. Thank you. I appreciate your time, your kind and and um your kind attention. I really dig it. Even on evenings like these where I go live and I'm sort of because I'm tired. I have you here with me, and you're engaging, and you're hitting me, with the likes, and I appreciate it. I do. I hope to see you on Wednesday. I'll hit up the end of right. Yes, Wednesday. Now it's Monday. I'll finish this chat, God willing. So I'm not a fan of Christian holidays by any means, not religiously, but I know that Saint Valentine's Day is considered a day of love. That much I know, and to those of you who are observing it, I hope that you have true love and not fish love, right? There's Rabbi Avram Twersky, which I've mentioned in the past, that said that a lot of people's love is like when people say, I love fish. They don't mean I love fish. They mean I love to eat fish. They mean I love to, if you loved the fish, you would let it live. You don't love the fish. You love what the fish can give you. That's fish love when you say, I love fish. So I bless us all that in our life we might have this and that, but may the majority and the more significant pile of love that we get served in this life and that we give, may it be real, true love, if such a thing is. And in my estimation, it's very much a thing. May the love that we give and receive be real love and not fish love. There's room for both, I'm sure. But when we say I love something, that will be precise in our speech and that it will be real. Until Wednesday, God willing, I will see you then. Whew.